Hey everybody, it's Teepa and
Hey everybody, it's Matthew, and I'm the lead of the certified community, as well
Hey.
as I oversee Facebook and I oversee Instagram, and I am trying to do more on Pinterest. So all you Pinterest folks out there, I promise I'm going to do more on there. So coming soon.
yeah, and I'm only here because Matthew needs somebody to talk to when he's doing this stuff. That's my job. Um, so today we're actually going to share with you something you can go watch. So you can watch us and listen to us, but now what we're going to have you do is go watch somebody else and listen to someone else. And the person we're going to have you listen to is Charles. And the reason we're going to have you listen to Charles and Deborah and Deidre, who is
Yeah, so Deidre is
someone
one
in
of
our
our amazing mentors out there in PAC, and she's up in Canada. Where? Ooh, shoot, Teepa, where in?
around Toronto. I mean,
Around close to Toronto.
she's
Yeah,
in Ontario, at
yeah,
least. Yeah. Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So Matthew's in charge of the certified community, and Deidre's part of the certified community.
Amazing.
And Charles and his wife Deborah are part of the Snow Approach Foundation community here in Hillsborough. And Deidre got to talk with Charles and spend some time with Charles when she was down for our retreat. And during our retreat, we had our snow typical Friday morning brain cafe, and the mentors and the people who work for PAC, the PAC team from all over the world were present, and they got a chance to interact and engage. And one of the things I asked Deidre to do as an occupational therapist and a PAC mentor was to spend some time talking with Charles because he has an atypical, an unusual kind of dementia. And we have another friend with this kind of dementia. So we're really lucky to have a couple. Well, we have actually a few friends with this kind of dementia. Nobody should have dementia. I think we should just get rid of it, but I haven't figured out how to do that. So I have friends, and they're living with various forms of dementia. Belle Fox Martin is one of our friends, really good friends, a dear, wonderful woman who I appreciate greatly for her wisdom, knowledge, skill, and compassion. She has what's called posterior cortical atrophy, PCA. Otherwise, in the older days, when they named everything after physicians, Benson's disease. So Dr. Benson was one of the first people to recognize this condition as being different than some of the other dementias. And it is different. Now, here's where it gets tricky. And in the journal this month, this coming up month in April, I think it is, or March, we're going to be talking about the different dementias because this is tricky. It has a lot of beta amyloid malformations. It has a lot of tau tangles. But the tricky part is it starts in the back of the brain. It starts in the occipital lobe. So it's starting more posterior behind in the brain and cruising forward, as opposed to Alzheimer's, which starts in the hippocampal area and spreads outward that way. So when we talk about the different dementias, it gets into this tricky zone of some of the malformed proteins are similar malformed proteins, but when you're living with the condition, it's a very different condition to live with when it starts in the back and shifts forward. And one of the things that Charles has a lot, and I think you'll hear about, are horrible headaches. And I know that that's also a phenomenon that Belle experiences. Her brain gets overwhelmed, and the muscles around the blood vessels start scrunching and squeezing. And so there's a vascular element to this. And it really is devastating because it's almost close to what people describe as migraines. So it's just debilitating. I've got to close my eyes. I've got to quit. I've got to stop. I've got to rest. So that's a phenomena that happens. And because it starts in the back, and I'm going to show you a picture, I'm going to share my screen. This is a great article. Matthew's going to post it up, but mostly this morning is about helping you appreciate. And this comes from Health Jade. So you'll want to go check this out if you're curious. But we're looking at a CAT scan or an MRI. I think it's a CAT scan, if I had to best guess. Look at the back of this brain. This back up here, this occipital area, has really significant shift and change. And we'll notice it's also starting to impact into the sensory motor area because the wiring between occipital to sensory motor. So I can't get my body to do, because I having trouble, so much trouble with my vision. So we see this back here too. And down here, this is the very back of the brain. And we're seeing the outside of the cerebellum. And this is the side view of the cerebellum for those of you who have curiosity there. And this then allows us to see, like we've just sliced off the very back of your brain. And this should be sort of full. This shouldn't be empty like this. So we're seeing lots of difference up in here for what we should see. And there's lots of words. And so what's nice about this article, I'm just showing you, they actually have some video for those of you who like video, talking to people that have different kinds of Terry Pratchett from the UK. We have Trina and Graham. You'll hear from them. And then they have a video. They have some key points. And then something I really enjoy, they have, before you even get the full out symptoms, what are some things you might notice? And then when you have it, and then when you have advanced, and then what are some of the causes? What do we think might be doing it? Mutation, what do we know? And some of the symptoms and atypical presentations, et cetera, and what can you do for testing for those who are curious. Now, here's the part that's really cool. They have typical Alzheimer's, and then they have posterior cortical atrophy. So you could compare symptoms and go, looks like you're more over here than you're over there, which is a healthy thing to do. And they even look at the visual fields of what's going on with people's visual awareness. And we call that visual field. Like, what do they notice? What do they not notice? And so you're going to hear some of that from Charles. So, but I thought, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Well, sort of.
Yeah, it's a lot, but really, if you get the opportunity to look through it, it does give you a great base understanding of what the PCA is, posterior cortical atrophy, and being able to get some of those visuals. I feel like Teepa can be very helpful understanding, like you were just saying, what you might see, what you might start to notice is happening, and what could be helpful as well. Because when I got to be there and Charles was with us, Teepa, you did an amazing job of checking in with Charles to see, hey, how does this feel? Is this okay? Light too much, bored like this, a little too much. So noticing the things we could do to be supportive, because it's not something we commonly think of. It's not something we would be like, oh, shoot, this might be a little too much.
Yeah, because it's not the kind of thing that would be too much for somebody living with Alzheimer's. So more traditionally. And so what's really wonderful about Charles's interview with Deedra and his wife is they cover a wide variety. And there's 3 little segments. And so we invite you to do one of 2 things. First, read the stuff that we're sharing, and then watch what Charles and Deborah have to say, and then put the puzzle pieces together, or watch and listen to Charles and Deidre and Deborah talking, and then go to the article, because both could have value, and depending on how you like to learn or what your time frame is and how curious you are. But if you've never been around with someone living with this, people can have a lot of misconceptions and misunderstanding. And what's really wonderful about Charles is his willingness to be so open and so kind and so considerate and so able to help us better understanding of what it means to live with this and what we could possibly do to make life exciting, interesting, not too much, engaging, accepting, and supportive. So that's our message for today. Check it out. And if you're curious about posterior cortical atrophy, check out the article and the courageous conversation. And if you want to learn more, we have other things on posterior cortical atrophy. We have stuff from Bell. We also have the possibility, we have some webinars that we've done on atypical dementias. And you could always come visit us at Snow Approach Foundation. Check it out. We have possibilities of coming to meet, engage, and learn from people who are willing to teach. Till next time, take care with your care.
Teepa. Bye, everybody.